fascinating race.
And then also you've got Andrew Jordan starting third on the grid with 27 kilos of success ballast. Remember that the ballast for race one is championship weight. So because they've done not awfully well in the title race thus far, the Subarus, as they weave towards Tower, are ballast free. And the grid is headed by Ash Sutton on pole position for the 4th time in his career, with Jason Plato lining up alongside. Then come Andrew Jordan and Sam Tordoff in the best front-wheel drive car on the grid. Tom Ingram is next, with Colin Turkington starting 6th ahead of Rob Collard. Really good qualifying from him. And Stephen Jelly, his best of the season, for 8th. Josh Cook 9th. Rob Austin rounding out the top 10 from Dan Lloyd and James Cole. Then Rory Butcher, who's not raced here for 5 years. He's got Senna Proxy for company ahead of Matt Neal and Ollie Jackson. The 9th row is Tom Chilton with an oversteering car yesterday. He lines up alongside Tom Oliphant. Mike Bushell and Dan Camish are next. Then Josh Price and Adam Morgan, who has had, of course, 2 wins, second in the championship with weight. Chris Smiley and Aidan Moffat next. Then it's Jake Hill and only 26th, Jack Goff. He's ahead of Matt Simpson, winner at Alton Park. Then Brett Smith, the 3 Eurotech Hondas together. Behind them, Michael Caine, Bobby Thompson, and then Tom Boardman and Sam Smelt on the back row of the grid. Sam, who's never raced here before. Now, the option tyre at Croft is the harder tyre, and Ash Sutton will carry that. There is Matt Simpson, who has got quite a bit of work to do in this race, starting as he is 27th. A quick reminder of who is carrying what in terms of the tyre and the weight. Ash Sutton has the option. Andrew Jordan starts on the prime, 27 kilos. Tom Ingram the option and 48, getting it out of the way early on. And then you look further down, also on the option tyre is Rory Butcher. You see the spread of weight across the grid, and those with 57 kilos, Adam Morgan and Jack Goff, tied second equal on points, so they take the lower weight. They are way down the order. Now, let's just quickly have a word with Matt Simpson before we go racing. 27th on the grid, Matt. This is going to be hard work, isn't it?
It is indeed, Dave. Yeah, obviously we was expecting to be a bit further up after the fantastic weekend we had at Alton Park. But all the 3 of the Eurotech cars really struggled for balance yesterday, just obviously on power understeer. So today we've gone literally 3 different ways, hoping one way will be the right way and help us move up the grid.
So is that meaning that this race is a bit like a test session, really, to see whether you're back at the races?
Yeah, indeed. Obviously, you know, luckily we've got 3 cars, so we can evaluate the data after this race and see which alteration was the better one, and hopefully we can move on forward in race 2 and 3.
And yesterday there was a bit of damage as well at the chicane, so the guys had a long night, I guess.
They have indeed. Yeah, the Eurotech guys have done wonders, and hopefully they'll give me a fantastic car today to move forward up the grid.
Fingers crossed. Good luck, Matt. Thanks.
Thanks, Dave.
So Matt Simpson heads to the grid, and of course this is the first race he's done since that victory at Alton Park, because he had to miss races 2 and 3.
Yeah, troubled start to the weekend. He hit the tyre barriers at the chicane on free practice, and that took off one front end. He also ran into the back of Senna Proctor in having locked the brakes up. So a discombobulated start to his weekend.
So let's see how it can improve from here. He will line up behind Jake Hill in the Team Hard Volkswagen, and a reminder that Jake leads Dunlop's Forever Forward award for overtakes. Now at the front, it's Subaru. Warren Scott, the patron, looks on from the pit lane. It's 15 laps. It is round 13 of the Dunlop MSA British Touring Car Championship. Which Subaru will lead towards the first corner as we go racing? It's a good start by Sutton. Jordan tries to get on the mix as well, but Sutton will lead Plato on the run down towards Clervaux. Jordan's made a really good start and gets ahead of the Subaru of Jason Plato, but Sutton leads. Jordan goes second, Plato third. Ingram is fourth ahead of Tordoff. Great start. And then you've got Turkington and Collard in the mix. Jelly is off the road. Austin is off the road at the first corner.
Well, the first question's been answered, and that is that Plato will not challenge Sutton into turn 1. Sutton's got an opportunity to bed in those hard tyres. A couple of cars cutting across the chicane, which is inevitable on the first lap, but a great start by Sutton. He's streaked away, and Jordan up to second, but you're right, it was Ingram that jumped Tordoff.
Safety car straight away, because we've got 2 cars that have gone wide at Clervaux, as you saw, with gravel on the road as well. So this will neutralise things. They come now down through the Jim Clark S's on the run towards Barcroft, but Ash Sutton leading the way. Others can race until they get to the boards. So a good start by Andrew Jordan up into second place. Plato third. Fourth, it is Ingram. Fifth is Tordoff. And there, I'm afraid, is Rob Austin, who was pretty buoyant, despite having a lap time taken away during qualifying. When I spoke to him yesterday, he was all fired up for race day, and I'm afraid that he and Stephen Jelley have got together at the first corner. Jelley's BMW looking very second-hand indeed.
Yeah, a great shame for Stephen Jelley. Look at the damage on the back of Rob Austin's car. That's preventing him getting out the gravel. But, you know, Jelley had his best qualifying performance of the year on a rear-wheel drive friendly circuit. He just needed a good, clean race, and he'd had a good weekend going. Now it's going to be really difficult.
Same for Rob Austin, of course, because even if they get the damage repaired in time for race 2, he'll be at the back. Talk us through the start.
Well, a great launch by Sutton, and you can see directly behind him, Jordan has been able to slot in behind and box out Plato. Sutton's able to take the racing line in turn 1. Ingram has come through on Tordoff. Being on the outside is definitely not the best place to be. And, well, we don't see what causes the cars to go off, but you often get that bunching, and those people in the crowd are wishing they hadn't sat there now, aren't they?
Choking in the dust. Does this show us any more? Jelley seems to go wide, and Austin's on the outside of him.
Now, was there a push from behind that pushed Jelley across the road in front of Austin? We don't know.
Well, sadly, the Alfa Romeo Giulietta is beached in the gravel, and that will have to start race 2 from the back of the grid. And there is Stephen Jelley after that good qualifying for Team Parker Racing. He's had a little bit more grunt in this older engine afforded to him this weekend, and it certainly worked. But again, rear-wheel drive, ballast free, that was always going to help. But he comes down the pit lane for repairs, and everybody else battles on. So the race order at the end of lap 1, Ash Sutton from Andrew Jordan, Jason Plato 3rd, Tom Ingram 4th, 5th, Sam Tordoff and 6th, Colin Turkington, Rob Collard 7th, 8th is Josh Cook, 9th is Dan Lloyd, and it's James Cole rounding out the top 10 at the moment. How are the Eurotech cars getting on quickly? Jack Goff's up to 23rd, Matt Simpson's up to 25th, that's 26th.
Yeah, movers on that first lap. Hamish managed to gain 3 places. Obviously, everybody behind Jelley and Rob Austin managed to pick up a couple of places, but Hamish picked up 3, Morgan picked up 3, Smiley 3, Moffat 3. So good starts for them.
And down 3, Josh Price. He was one of the losers out of all of that, excepting, of course, Stephen Jelley and Rob Austin. Replay of the start here.
On board with Turkington, he's got a good start. He's got across to the inside, which is the safe area. He's a bit boxed in, but he does, as you'd always expect with Turkington, a nice, sensible first corner. He looks at an opportunity to get up the inside of Tordoff, but Tordoff has closed that down before we get to the chicane.
So we're behind the safety car, the field turning its way up towards the complex. No indication yet that the safety car is due in. It's going to be at least one more lap, I think. So Ash Sutton leads the way. There's the damage on Stephen Jelley's car.
And that might indicate that he got hit from the rear, mind. I don't know, although both he and Austin, they started a row apart, but they started on the outside of the grid. So whether there was somebody from the inside that attacked one of them, we just couldn't see in that melee. But this does give everybody an opportunity to just bring their tyres up to temperature. The hard-tyred runners at the front are Sutton, Ingram in 4th place, and then the next one back is actually Butcher in 11th place. But we think that the hard tyre will be better over the duration, but the medium or the prime tyre will be good for the first 5 laps and quicker by about a second.
It's going to be fascinating, isn't it, then, especially in these temperatures, to see that management of the tyre. Andrew Jordan's on the normal tyre, the prime tyre, but the softer tyre for this weekend. So is Jason Plato behind him, and Jason Ballast free, remember. So everybody comes over the timing line. There's another one down the pit lane by the look of it. So in comes one of the Team Hard cars. That's Jake Hill, I'm afraid to say. So Jake's disappointing weekend is getting no better. And down the pit road has come Jake Hill. So he is in the pit road, and that might well be at the end of the race. We'll wait and see. So the safety car we think is going to be in this time. We're going to go racing, fingers crossed, at the end of this lap. Can Jake Hill get back into the race and stay on the lead lap? The second safety car will bring him back into the game, of course. Colin Turkington here runs in 6th place as the cars accelerate towards Sunny, getting ready for the restart. And can Andrew Jordan, having made a great standing start, get a good rolling start and jump Sutton?
Yeah, much easier on the rolling start, but also harder to pass. And everybody will be mindful of that first corner again and trying to cover the inside.
So we're good, pretty much, to go racing this Croft circuit with the safety car making its way to the complex, ready to dive to pit in. Ash Sutton gets the warmth back into the tyres. The pressure's up once again. Andrew Jordan looking for his maiden win of the season. But podium finisher at Alton Park last time out. Confidence up. And he could yet be on the top step here. But Tom Ingram leading the front-wheel drive brigade is in the mix as well. He was quickest in FP1, so don't rule him out. Ash Sutton bunches up everybody as they come to the complex. And he's not accelerated yet, so they're all concertinaed behind him. And he will accelerate any second coming out of the hairpin. The green flags will wave, and at the end of lap 3, we will go racing once more across. Here we go, Sutton accelerates away with the wheel on the dirt. Andrew Jordan runs second over the line. Plato third, Ingram in fourth. The Speedworks Toyota heading the Motorbase Ford and Tordoff in the front-wheel drive fight, then it's Turkington sixth. The lead gap as we restart racing is 0.490 of a second, down towards Clairvaux, and it's Sutton ahead of Jordan.
Good restart by Sutton. He waited until they were right on the hairpin before going, which bunched everybody up behind him and gave him a good exit. So that was a good sensible restart, and everybody cleanly through Clairvaux on this restart.
17 laps we're up to now with this safety car period. So 17-lap racers there. Ingram on the inside line, trying to attack Plato, trying to defend from Tordoff. Jason gets away as now the heavier Toyota has to go really defensive to keep the Ford Focus at bay. But Sutton now ballast free, getting away from Jordan, who's a bit busy, of course, defending from Plato.
Yeah, very much so. Plato had a new engine after his qualifying engine overheated, so he had a new engine in the car for today, and it's suspected that back to all those Subarus which were running highly marginal yesterday. Matt Neal making a move on Tom Boardman, but all the Subarus perhaps just turned down a touch in the interest of reliability. Now they've got the grid positions.
Matt Neal up a place then, that gives him 11th at the expense of Rory Butcher as the cars come through the complex. And Matt Neal on a mission, he's got Butcher tucked up behind him, then Senna Proctor. Looking back from Turkington's car, you've got Rob Collard behind. There is Matt Neal then, and you can see the MG damaged at Alton Park, but rebuilt by the AMD squad, and also muscling up the inside further back. Tom Chilton against Dan Camish as they come across the line. Chilton was ahead, Chilton stays ahead, but only just ahead of the pair of them. In 14th is Ollie Jackson in the Audi. Dan Camish not yet in the points, crawling all over the back of Chilton there. Look as they dive down towards Clairvaux, and Chilton's attacking and defending at the same time.
And remarkably, those two floppies on the exit of Clairvaux were still there. They normally get wiped out the first lap, don't they?
You've been tired. Yeah, they won't be there at the end, I'll guarantee it. Here they come then out of the chicane. Jackson, Chilton, Camish. This is the run towards Tower, and there, Collard versus Cook. The battle is on for 7th place, so Rob Collard dropping away slightly from Colin Turkington. Josh Cook looking for a way by as Ash Sutton gets away, but look now, Plato is closing onto the back of Jordan. The gap was 0.4 of a second, but Jason is quicker in the first sector. The gap second to third is coming down.
Yeah, this is still built an interesting, I mean, perhaps explained by the hard tyres. Sutton's not really getting away. There's that big slide again from Jordan. We saw that in qualifying yesterday, coming through Sunny out. Just getting a slide on and losing a bit of momentum up the straight towards the complex.
Jordan second, Plato third. And for as long as the BMW has to defend, so Ash Sutton is trying to build that lead up front. Although that said, Jordan has just done the absolute best in the middle sector. But look at Plato with less weight coming out of the hairpin. The two of them are nose to tail. BMW versus Subaru. Down towards Clairvaux they go. In 4th place, you've got Tom Ingram just dropping a couple of tenths on that lap, but staying ahead of Tordoff, and significantly, of course, set to bank points. The lead gap is now 9 tenths, and Jordan to Plato is 0.3 of a second.
And Ingram's done a good job to stay in front of the ballast-free Tordoff. Oh, here's a gaggle coming down to the first corner.
Morgan's in all of that, just behind Josh Price. Look as they turn their way through. Certainly that Price has gained the spot. Morgan has dropped back, in fact, on that lap. Goff has got ahead of him as well. So has the Sicily Motorsport Mac Tools car got a problem? Adam Morgan struggling with the setup yesterday. He thought it might be the weight, and he's dropping places here. As now, look, Rory Butcher comes under attack from Senna Proctor. MG versus Vauxhall, and it's Butcher who goes a little bit wider, but just consolidates the place.
Yeah, at the moment, that car, oh, there was a tag from behind. That was Camish on the back of Chilton. They've been scrapping over. Fortunately, they both keep going. Bit of a misunderstanding there. Looked like coming into the final hairpin.
So out of all of that, Chilton stayed ahead as Proctor lines up to have another go at Rory Butcher and Sunny out, but he couldn't do it. Gap disappears, door closed. The MG showing good pace around here. It's been a winning car here in the past, of course. In the wet as well. But Rory Butcher is not disgracing himself. He's in 12th place, and for a man that's not raced here for 5 years, that's pretty decent going for the moment. Out of the complex he comes, up towards the hairpin. Now up front, Ash Sutton continues to lead the way, and at the end of 6 laps, he's a second clear. He is chipping away, he's pulling clear of Jordan. And And that gap, second to third, is nothing at all. Look, Jason Plato is right on the back of Andrew Jordan, diving into Clairvaux.
As far as weight's concerned, this track, it's easier to carry some excess ballast than it is certainly at all where we were before. So the difference between Jordan and Plato, which is only 27 kilos, is not significant in terms of performance.
Rory Butcher doing in the MG. He comes out of the chicane, still with Senna Proctor behind him. This is the fight for 12th place.
Senna Proctor was very restrained, I thought, at the end of the last lap. Butcher left a huge gap on the inside going into the final hairpin, and most drivers would have slung the car up the inside there, but Proctor was waiting for a better opportunity, clearly.
He might have done had it been race 3, of course, as well, with weeks of repair time. So we are on lap 7. It's a 17-lap race. Butcher versus Proctor then. Senna winner at Brands Hatch in the wet-dry race we had earlier on in the season. Remember, round 2 of the championship. And here he comes towards Sonny. Not able to make the move there. And what about Plato on Jordan as up towards the complex? And they've come to the eye. The gap a little bit less between the top 2, indeed, on this lap. Andrew Jordan doing his level best to get back onto terms with Sutton, and in fact in sectors 1 and 2 he is fractionally quicker. This, look, is Turkington having a go at Tordov, which might help Ingram to escape. But last time, Sutton to Jordan was 1 second. Has that gap come down as they go across the line? Still hovering around the 1 second mark. 4/10 back is Jason Plato, so it's still really a three-way fight for the lead.
Yeah, we're already starting to see a little bit of tyre degradation. Tordov and Ingram, which are the leading front-wheel drive cars, sort of half to 3/4 of a second slower than their best laps already.
Ingram's on that harder tyre, Tordov's on the prime. Turkington 6th behind them, and you're on board with Colin Turkington now. He's got to find really a 1/5 of a second to get back onto terms with the Ford, but also he's got Collard behind him, and he's busy defending from his teammates, who in turn is busy defending there. Look from Josh Cook, 2 BMWs, rear-wheel drive, Vauxhall Astra front-wheel drive as one coming out of Tower.
Yeah, just a lap ago, well, half a lap ago, Turkington was challenging Tordov. Now, with that sort of failed a little look, he's got to defend automatically from Collard, who's flying. Collard, of course, enjoyed his best qualifying of the year here.
Many years, maybe. 15 kilos of weight plays 75 kilos of weight on the BMWs. There you can see it on the graphic. So Collard's car closing up behind, the lighter of the 2. And, of course, Rob is very busy trying to make sure that Cook can't get past him. And if he feels he's got the faster BMW, he's going to want to get past and get away up the road. Into the complex they come. Look back, there's Collard using all of the curb. Behind this little battle pack, you've got Dan Lloyd running 9th in one of the 2 BTC Norlin Hondas, very badly damaged at Alton Park. A lot of work and a massive repair bill also for the team, but here they're on the grid, and Dan Lloyd going strongly within the top 10. Leader through, gap has crept up again. 11 tenths. Ash Sutton incidentally has done the fastest lap of the race, and he's over a second to the good now.
Yeah, he's keeping good, consistent times and has in a good rhythm, and car's working well underneath him. He won't expect any tyre degradation now. He's got beyond sort of 5 or 6 laps, so he'll be in a nice, sweet place, I think, Ash Sutton at the moment.
What about Plato on Jordan? Can Ingram do anything about them? He was fractionally faster last time, and indeed was a 10th quicker than Jordan, so Ingram is not out of it, but he does rather need that battle to liven up ahead of him to delay the 2 drivers and give him an even better opportunity to close in on them. There, look, you've got Tom Oliphant on the inside, Dan Camish on the outside line, and Oliphant goes ahead of Camish, who drops another place then. That puts him down into 17th position. Maybe a legacy of the damage, the contact that he had earlier on with Chilton.
Yeah, 2 ex-Carrera Cup GBs guys coming through into touring cars at the same time, so they know each other well from Carrera Cup races.
So Dan Camish drops back. Tom Oliphant, who of course was also involved in that big start line shunt at Alton Park, missed that 3rd race, comes now through Sonny out, trying to get himself into the points now that he's moved himself up past Camish, whose teammate Matt Neal is in 11th. Really the best of the Hondas is the Dan Lloyd car, isn't it, in 9th overall. As there, look, you've got Jordan and Plato 2nd and 3rd coming over the timing line. Now Sutton leads by 1.3 seconds. That margin is increasing all the while. Jordan runs 2nd and Plato 3rd. Gap back to the front-wheel drive leader, Tom Ingram. Then it's Tordov ahead of Turkington, Collard, Cook, Lloyd, and behind, up into 10th place now, is Matt Neal.
Well, it's interesting. History is sort of repeating itself, because last year Sutton was on pole for race 1, which he won on the hard tyre. If it carries on like that, then Turkington, who won race 2 and could be very well placed actually in the 2nd race if positions finish like that, vis-a-vis weight in the cars in front of him. He won 2nd race last year. Could be on for that again.
Let us see then as the cars accelerate into the Jim Clark S's for the 10th time. Sutton building this lead. the reigning champion, of course, up front. Teammate Jason Plato third, the best we have seen from him all season. But if anybody thought Subaru was going to dominate the race, then a big cheer is needed for Andrew Jordan, because he's managed to split them. Yes, he's not being able to stay on the tail of Sutton, but he's doing a good job of defending that second place. On board with Turkington, that's Collard locking up behind.
Yeah, just following in the car in front, but it'll make him slow off the corner. That's Tower Corner. The next section will be flat out, will have cost him a bit of time and given Turkington just a little bit of breathing room. But Turkington's stuck. Look how close he is behind Tordoff. And oh, now a move up the inside. He's on the wrong side, but Plato shows how much traction and turning ability. And here we see in a straight line down the straight, not much between them for all you Boost checker viewers, not much between the two cars. Yes, 27 kilos between them, but that is not significant. So it certainly looks like in race trim, the Subaru is very equal to the other cars. Oh, now that's a real good move. Jordan's running into some tyre problems maybe, but ran wide there, coming through Hawthorns, and Plato was able to squirt up the inside before the chicane. Now, will he be able to close on teammate Ash Sutton? The race is on now.
And also, what about the last place on the podium? Can Jordan hang on in there? And that's Adam Morgan with big damage. Somebody's got into the back of him, and that's Adam Morgan's race done. The marshal there saying, peel off the circuit, get out of the way.
He'll have no trouble turning left.
That's very true. Graphically shown. Adam Morgan out then, so he came here, joined second in the championship. That's a big, big blow to his hopes. So, this is your new battle for third and fourth. It's Jordan versus Ingram. Tordoff dropping away now, slightly into the clutches of Turkington. So, can Ingram get himself onto the podium in the leading front-wheel drive car? And can even Andrew Jordan fight back against Jason Plato, having lost that ground? The answer seemingly is no. The gap is widening a little, isn't it?
Well, for anyone that thought Jason Plato had lost his ability, I think that's been answered very clearly in this race. Once a driver like Jason gets a sniff of a win and being at the front of the grid, all the natural speed and racecraft comes out. And you know, he qualified only a tenth or so away from Ash Sutton with an overheating engine. So you know, he's clearly back on the pace, and that was a great move.
He's got to make up 1.8 seconds, which I think is probably too great, given how evenly matched those cars are, but he'll throw everything at it, that is for sure. Now, what about Jordan to Ingram? It's half a second between them. This is Turkington, who is still bored at staring at the back of Tordoff, but he hasn't found an answer yet to the Ford ahead of him. Sam, his former BMW teammate, and now on the acceleration up towards the right at Tower. Is there going to be an opportunity? No, he's not close enough.
But with 75 kilos difference between the two cars, that is the maximum differential you could get between the cars. Turkington will still be very happy with this performance, and as Dick Bennett from West Surrey Racing is always very keen for me to point out, the rear-wheel drive cars also carry an extra 30 kilos for being rear-wheel drive, but that is their base weight, so that's the way it is.
So Turkington through Sunny, inching up, look onto the back of the Ford. Meantime, there is Jordan falling back from Plato, and Ingram is getting closer and closer all the time. Ingram is on the harder tyre. Here is the option. Jordan's on the prime tyre, and out of the complex, up to the hairpin they come. And this is where really the move started from Plato. Can Ingram find any room at all?
But despite the tyre disparity, and again you see oversteer from Jordan coming off the corner, you would expect the front-wheel drive car of Ingram, even on the hard tyre, but with added weight, to be falling away from the rear-wheel drive car. So this is, I think there'll be some head scratches perhaps in the Jordan camp. It's a good performance. You know, he's on the podium, but he hasn't been able to stay with those two Subarus.
Indeed, that's right. The gap is widening between Plato and Jordan, and you can see what it is between Jordan and Ingram now as they sprint towards Tower. So the Toyota on the tail of the BMW, 27 kilos in the BM that's rear-wheel drive, 48 in the front-wheel drive Toyota, and Ingram has a look to the inside at Tower. No way through there. You can also see, though, how Tordoff behind has dropped away because he's busy defending from Turkington. We're currently on lap 13. Look at that little gaggle. 4 of them now. Tordoff, Turkington, Collard, Cook together, and Ingram crawling all over the back of Jordan for third place.
Yeah, this is going to get, these two little battles are going to get very interesting. The battle for third between the two cars, which is Jordan and Ingram, and then we've got this Tordoff, Turkington, Collard, Cook battle.
So out of Sunny goes the fight for fourth. Meantime, it still goes to tail for third place. Ingram has had a lap really glued to the tail of the Team Pertec BMW car of Andrew Jordan. Into the complex they come. There up the road are the Subarus leading. The gap was 1.8, it's 1.6. There, Ingram tries the outside of the hairpin. That doesn't work. Can he get up alongside? He clips the curb, but he's going to be on the outside line for Clervaux. That's not ideal there, so Jordan stays ahead for the moment.
And Jordan is really suffering with rear grip. He couldn't put the power down through that complex. But what I would like to point is, in front of this, Plato has shot away from... Oh, he's gone wide now! That's it! Yeah! And a spin, he couldn't even hold it on the road. He hasn't got a puncture from the look of it. But he's been losing rear end grip, and the rear must have just let go going into Clervaux. It's dropped him all the way back to 10th behind Dan Lloyd. But what I was going to say is, look at this battle for the lead. Plato has been inches his way up to Sutton with consistently quicker laps. On the last lap, he was half a second quicker than Sutton, and he's going to be on it with time to go in this race.
It was 1.8 seconds between them. It is now 1.1 seconds, and Jason can sniff a win. He's definitely back in town, isn't he? But Ash Sutton is not going to give up the lead without a fight. So now Tom Ingram is third, and after a rare spin, here it is. He goes wide through the gravel. Andrew Jordan is way, way back.
And he had full lock on there, but it just wasn't enough to save him. And it seems like the track is a little bit dirty there, isn't it? Because Ingram himself had a bit of a moment, and so did the following cars.
So that's going to shuffle the order, of course, as here are the Subarus almost as one. Now, they come out of the hairpin. Now, would they consider swapping over the lead, at least to give Jason an extra point for leading a lap? They're not really championship fighters, so it's probably a rather ambitious thought, but it's always a good team idea.
And also, if I was Ash Sutton, I wouldn't let Plato lead for a point, because he may not let you back fast. No, they're not going to do any of that.
7/10 of a second it is between them. And we've got a driving standards flag being given to Matt Simpson. So Ingram up to third, Tordoff fourth, Turkington fifth, Collard is sixth, and Jordan down to ninth place after his dramas at Clervaux. So Tom Ingram, top front wheel drive car, and he's on the harder tyre, and he's got 48 kilos. This is a good effort, banking points again.
Yeah, very good effort. He and Turkington will be very pleased at the moment with their races. Perhaps Tordoff and Andy Jordan less so.
So Jordan trying to get himself back into the mix against Dan Lloyd. And let's have a look at more dramas here. Mike Bushell's car with the flapping bonnet. The scrutineers may want that in if he doesn't come in himself.
Yeah, following Cam Issue's bonnet and front end look a little bit deranged as well from that earlier incident with Chilton. Quick look at Butcher. He's following Jackson through this flat-out Jim Clark S's. Jackson gets a little wide as they break and come down to through Barcroft into Sunny Inn. So difficult to stop the car. Butcher using plenty of inside curb there to help hook the car around the corner, but of course it does affect your braking.
And Jordan has incidentally lost another place to Matt Neal now, so clearly there's something not right. Spin aside with that Pertec BMW. The race leaders have just started lap 16 of 17, and the gap is 0.8 of a second. Ollie Jackson being given a real workover by Rory Butcher. It was here that Ollie was on the front row of the grid, of course, for a reverse grid race. And as they come over the timing line, these two are 13th and 14th. So we've got 2 laps to go. We've got 0.8 between the leading Subarus. Ingram is third. And as I say, Matt Neal now up into 9th place at the expense of Andrew Jordan. On board with Butcher through Clervaux. Accelerating up now towards the right at Hawthorne. So the lead gap, 0.8 through the first sector. Plato quicker than Sutton. There they are, the two Subarus running together. Can Jason get there in time?
And I can just tell from the body English that Sutton is wringing the neck of that Subaru. He's using absolutely every inch of the road. He wasn't doing that earlier in the race. He was really controlling the car. Look, he's absolutely on the limit. He knows that if Jason gets even remotely close to a car length behind him, that he'll have a go. So he's pulling everything he can out of that car.
A lap and a bit to go then. This is the complex, then there is the hairpin, and then there is the last lap of this first of 3 touring car rounds at Croft through the hairpin. Number 1, Sutton, 99, Plato, first and second. All of which are words we have not used for a long time. It's got applause as they go on to the last lap. The gap is still hovering around the 0.8 of a second mark.
Let me read the bodying language there. That was Warren saying, everything's fine if it just stays as it is, boys. I'm happy with that. You've done a great job. Please bring the cars home like that. That's what he was really saying.
And then I can breathe. Contact here. That's Chilton getting into the back of Ollie Jackson. And doesn't force the issue, stays behind him. So the places remain in that same order. So we've got 2/3 of a lap to go, and Ash Sutton looks as though he might be on target, should be on target for an 8th career win as he comes out of Tower. Jason Plato behind him. Wasn't the best of starts by Jason, dropping in behind Andrew Jordan, but he fought back and he's got himself there into 2nd place.
Yeah, Sutton has driven very well, managed to start the race. When Plato got through to 2nd, he picked it up a little bit as soon as he saw the gap coming down, and he's never let it get below sort of half a second. So he's maybe below a second. He's mashed Plato on the last couple of laps. And fabulous victory and return to the top step of the podium for Ash Sutton.
So another different winner this season. Ash Sutton comes into the complex now up towards the hairpin. For Team BMR, for Subaru, it is going to be a 1-2 finish. Ash Sutton it is that leads. Jason Plato is going to be 2nd. Ash Sutton with a flash of the lights comes up to the checkered flag, up to the pit wall to celebrate with the team. It's a 1-2 for the Subaru Levorgs. Ash Sutton wins at Croft. Jason Plato takes 2nd, 0.8 of a second the margin. Tom Ingram wins the front-wheel drive class effectively in the Toyota. And who is going to be 4th? It's almost a dead heat as they come to the line. Toured off ahead of Turkington by a 10th. Collard is 6th, Cook 7th. Lloyd 8th, 9th goes the way of Matt Neal, and Andrew Jordan 10th. A race that promised so much, but just did not quite deliver, did it, with that spin and dramas with the tyres. Still they battle on. Proctor 11th, Cole 12th, Butcher 13th, Ollie Jackson is just 14th ahead of Tom Chilton. Tom Oliphant out of the points ahead of Chris Smiley. Dan Camish here, coming across the line. He was 18th at the start of the lap. He's 19th at the end of it. Josh Price ahead of him.
Yeah, Josh Price, a great move round the outside of the final hairpin, all the way round the outside and out, dragging Camish to the line with a bit of rear-wheel drive advantage. So good move by Price at the last corner.
So, Ash Sutton, race winner, and everybody at BMR breathes a huge sigh of relief. Yes, they've had a bit more boost, but they've modified the air intake, the radiator intake, the whole front aero has been improved, and you add all of that together, you also take 2 quick drivers in rear-wheel drive cars with no weight at a circuit kind to rear-wheel drive. And as Tim described it yesterday, it's the perfect storm for the opposition, really, because it all fits very nicely for the Team BMR squad, and celebrations in the cars.
Woohoo! Thank you, boys.
A fairly understated reaction, I think, from Ash Sutton. It was hardly a Sebastian Vettel whoop, was it? But more emotion perhaps for the team who have put in so much hard work.
But relief, like, oh, we've done it, finally. Whoa, we're back.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, the fascination doesn't stop there, of course, because now you load them up with weight, 75 and 66 going into the 2nd race, and we've not seen them with weight this year, really.
No, well, not at all. I mean, Jason Plato hadn't got a point before this race, so it's going to be a very different start. We know the car does carry weight, but I think the guys who are going to be really pleased are Ingram and Turkington. They have done really well.
Ash Sutton wins round 13 from Jason Plato. Tom Ingram heads the front-wheel drive contingent and also the independents in 3rd ahead of Sam Tordoff and then Colin Turkington. Rob Collard 6th ahead of Josh Cook and Dan Lloyd. 9th goes to Matt Neal, and 10th after that spin, Andrew Jordan. 11th, Senna Proctor ahead of James Cole, with Rory Butcher 13th and Ollie Jackson 14th, just ahead of Tom Chilton. Tom Oliphant comes next from Chris Smiley, Josh Price 18th, Dan Camish losing out on the run to the line, 19th, just ahead of Mike Bushell. In 21st, Jack Goff ahead of teammate Matt Simpson. The Eurotech cars are still struggling. Michael Caine 23rd ahead of his teammate Bobby Thompson. Sam Smelt 25th, and then Tom Boardman. Aidan Moffat retired to the pit lane, so did Brett Smith. Adam Morgan had damage. Jake Hill retired early in the race, and Stephen Jelly and Rob Austin, both casualties at turn 1 with damage. Colin Turkington it is who leads the championship, 17 points ahead of Tom Ingram. Adam Morgan drops to 3rd and Jack Goff drops to 4th ahead of Josh Cook. Matt Neal is 6th, then it's Andrew Jordan from Tom Chilton. Rob Collard is 9th. And look who's into the top 10 again. It's Ash Sutton now 10th, effectively equal on points with Rob Collard. That win has done him a lot of good. So Ash Sutton, race winner, will go through the technical checks at Pit Inn and then be released to the team, and it'll be a very, very happy Warren Scott, who's had a tough start to the season, as have the drivers.
And yesterday, Jason Plato said that Ash Sutton had absolutely no chance of winning the championship. He said 0 chance, which was why he didn't think he had to help in any way during the race today. But at 54 points away, he is not out of it by any stretch of the moment. If he goes on a tear now, with some more good rear-wheel drive circuits to come,